Hey, house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 26 updates and spoilers. Oh my goodness. We have so much to talk about. Our house guest of the day is Douglas Bonata. Douglas, thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. If you guys want to be house guest of the day like Douglas, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the stream. And, oh, hey, Lammy. As I've been mentioning, this season we are Paramount Plus affiliates. So if you are interested in still getting the live feeds to watch the season, we have a link for that in the description below as well. And if you use it, we get a little bit of a kickback, and every little bit helps. So we appreciate that as well. Right, Lammy? Lamb, stop showing your booty hole on the live stream. Okay. So anyway, when we left off yesterday, it was pandemonium in the Big Brother house. They had the power veto ceremony. It was Tucker versus Angela versus Kenny up on the block. But before we get into that, let me just set the table for you of the evening leading up to the POV ceremony, just so we have the right context for this update, right? So Tucker, as we know, won the power veto, and he came up with this wild plan because he was bored to use the veto on Angela instead of on himself, and then have Cedric put Quinn up as the replacement nominee, right? Because he knows Quinn has the secret power. He wants to try and flush that out. Plus, he just thinks that Quinn is a really strong player, and he's got stuff going on with pretty much everybody in this house. So he wants to get Quinn up on the block. Then Tucker would expose Quinn's secret power to everyone so that they would all want to vote him out, right? So the Ball Players Alliance was formed around this plan, and that was Tucker, Cedric, Kenny, and Cam. It was basically the Shake It Up Alliance plus Cam, right? However, Cedric was not fully on board with this plan. He felt it was way too risky for him, because then what if Quinn stays? Quinn can come and target him, especially since he has that power. He can take over other people's HOHs. Cedric just wanted to put Mackenzie up on the block. So because of that, Cedric and Cam decide, yeah, we don't want to turn on Quinn this early. We have multiple alliances with him, right? They're in the Pentagon together. They're in the collective. He knows too much about their games. So they do not want to turn on him at this point. So then they spilled to Quinn and the Pentagon. They had an emergency Pentagon meeting before the POV ceremony, and they told them about Tucker's plan to pull Quinn in closer. So, yeah, this was their effort to try and pull Quinn in, and hopefully if he uses the power, it would be something that would help them out next week. Cedric, also, he doesn't want to burn all of his bridges, right, with the Ball players and with Tucker. So Cedric also warned Tucker ahead of time to use the power veto on himself, not on Angela. This is going to become important later. He told Tucker, use the POV on yourself, not Angela. And he told Tucker, the votes are not there to take out Quinn. I don't want to do it. And Tucker's like, F it. He cut off Cedric when he was talking. He was like, F it. I'm doing it anyway. I'm using it on Angela. So then they had the power veto ceremony. Tucker used the POV on Angela. Oh my God. Just absolute insane gameplay to use the veto on someone else instead of on yourself. So Cedric put Mackenzie up in her place, and Mackenzie used her upgrade power. Thank you for finally waking up, because she was not planning on using her power if she went up this week. I believe she said because of everything that happened at the ceremony with Tucker's speech and everything, like calling Quinn out, that led to Mackenzie using her power, because she had no idea how powerful Quinn's thing was. She was like, oh my God, that does so much more than mine does. Like, I need to just use my power and guarantee my safety this week. So thankfully she used her power. Does Angela now believe that Mackenzie did in fact have the power and not Lisa? Because Angela was insisting that Lisa had it. But anyway, Mackenzie, because she used her power, is off the block, and America will be voting for the third nominee this week next to Tucker and Kenny. I know a lot of you guys were asking where and when to vote. I don't think it opens up until tomorrow's episode airs, because they want to set the table and everything for people that aren't watching live feeds. So I believe it's going to be a quick vote from Wednesday night to Thursday. So we'll just keep an eye out for that, and hopefully we'll have more information soon about when you can vote. Okay, that wasn't it, right? We also talked about how yesterday there was this House meeting immediately following the power veto ceremony. Who knows how much we missed before the feeds came back on, but we saw that Tucker is pissed at Cedric. He feels like Cedric really blindsided him by not putting Quinn up on the block as a replacement. And he's like, I followed through on my end of the plan, right? I used the veto on Angela, even though Cedric told him not to. So he was fully expecting Quinn to go up on the block. He called this a bitch-ass move by Cedric. He told everyone about Quinn's power. So now Quinn's going to have some explaining to do to his allies because he lied to almost all of them about having this power. But Tucker was calling Quinn one of the best players, and Tucker's asking, why would you not take out the best players first so that you can just coast to the end? Why not make it easier for yourself? There was also a little confrontation between Angela and Quinn that we didn't really get to see that much of. I don't know. I know they were talking about the whole that's the group controversy again, but I don't know how deep they got with that. And by the end of last night, I saw Angela and Quinn like yucking it up on the live feed. So I guess they made up, but who knows? Who knows if we're even going to see that on the show? I don't know. But by the end of yesterday's spoiler, it was very up in the air who will be leaving on Thursday. We're not even going to know who this third nominee is until Thursday night's episode. So between that and then the AI competition, who knows? Okay, so after all of that drama, let's get into the new stuff. After all that drama, Rubina is chatting with Tucker, and she's all, what are we? She wants to define this relationship. Is this really the time? I mean, all this stuff is going down. Is this really the time to be doing that? But she's getting nervous. Sorry, this is really getting in my face. But she's getting nervous because people are starting to look at the two of them now as a potential showmance, and she's like, I know this is not a priority right now to discuss this, but like, can we? So Tucker says, if it happens, it happens. Okay. He says, if we weren't in here playing a game, we'd probably be something. I know at one point, I think it was last night too, he was like, oh, if I get evicted, like we're going to have our notebook moment and you can like jump on me and I'll catch you and we'll like have our big kiss in front of everyone. I mean, they definitely seem interested in each other. Who knows if it's going to go anywhere on the show. But it seems to me that Rubina, after all of this drama involving Tucker, she's a little bit worried about being linked to Tucker when he's making so many waves. So I think she's trying to also like keep him in check a bit and be like, can you like stop doing all of this? It's too much. Like it's going to affect me negatively. So anyway, let's move on. Quinn was on an apology tour. He was saying sorry to all of his allies, so pretty much everyone in the house, for not telling them about his secret power. And he's telling everybody, oh, I wasn't planning on using it. Okay, I'm so sure. He saw how everyone treated Lisa when they thought that she had a power and he didn't want that for himself. I mean, I think that part is valid, right? Like, we saw what happened with Lisa. But Quinn is also not throwing glitter all over everyone's food. But everybody's pretty much telling him to his face, like, I understand. You're good with me still. Like, you don't have to worry about it. I get why you didn't want to tell me. We'll see. I'm sure the doubt is creeping in. I know a lot of people are like, he didn't tell me what he had going on. But a bigger concern is also all of Quinn's little deals are being exposed here. And people are realizing, like, whoa, Quinn does have a lot of stuff going on. He's working with pretty much everybody. So Quinn and Tucker also hugged it out multiple times yesterday, like at least 2 or 3 times. They were really making light of the public call out. Tucker's issue is more so with Cedric than it is with Quinn. So Tucker's like, I know I put a huge target on myself, but that's part of me risking it for the biscuit. He definitely said that phrase quite a few times yesterday as well, risking it for the biscuit. He was also telling Quinn, I think you're going to be safe this week. I don't think that America is going to vote for you to go up on the block. I don't know. I think they might. I think depending on tomorrow night's edit, there's going to be quite a few people voting for Quinn to go up. But he says there is one clear person who America would pick based on how they've been playing and what they've said and shit. So he didn't say who he's talking about here. From other things I've heard Tucker say, I feel like he's talking about Leah. I thought I saw Tucker saying that Leah has dropped like 4 derogatory terms in the House or something, and she's really worried that people are going to vote for her to go up on the block. Now, we haven't heard any of that. It could have very easily been blocked out, during one of the numerous feed blocks. I don't know what she said. I don't know if that's 100% true. I'm just letting you know what I've heard Tucker say. So, yeah, he seems to think that it's maybe Leah who's going to be voted on the block. I don't know. We haven't seen it, so I don't know. But Tucker says, man, I just wanted to battle with you, Quinn, in the AI competition and just get this effing game going. Bottom line, he was stirring up all this drama this week because he was bored. Okay. That's one way to do it. I mean, it's definitely been entertaining for us. Maybe not so great for his gameplay. But Cam and Cedric had a chat in the HOH room, and they're really hoping that the collective is still going to be with them after all this mess, right? Because the collective did not know about this whole plan that Tucker came up with before the ceremony. Quite a few of them were just like, what the actual F is happening? They did not know that this was going to happen. The Pentagon members only heard about it right before. So a few people left in the dark there, who should have probably known from Cedric and Cam that this was all going down. So Cedric is really hoping that T-Core and Chemo are not going to break off and go work with Rubina instead of the collective. And then, if they're working with Rubina, they're probably going to side with Tucker in this whole thing. So Cedric does not want to see that happen. But Cedric says, I really feel like I showed my loyalty to the collective by putting up Mackenzie because that's what they were telling me they wanted me to do. Also, he says Tucker is going to be targeting me now over anybody else in the alliance. So they should be happy about that, right? I really stuck my neck out here. So please don't be mean to me. He was saying he would love for Tucker to go this week because clearly Tucker is targeting him moving forward. He is not a Cedric fan. But let's face it, there's a good chance that Tucker could win the AI competition. And in that case, Cedric is like, Kenny can go. We don't need him anymore. This ball players thing, this Shake It Up alliance, I think that's pretty much done so after this whole thing is blown up. So Cam and Cedric feel like they should be safe with Quinn moving forward, especially if he's going to use his power next week, because Cedric really did him a solid by not putting him up on the block here. There was also some discussion about how Cam needs to really cut things off with Leah because it's not a good look. If they're trying to really bring this collective closer together, he's going to have to make some sacrifices, right? Cedric is going to really push like, oh, I didn't put Quinn up on the block. Like, I put myself at risk by putting Leah up to protect him. And Cam can be like, I'm not talking to Leah anymore. Good luck with that. I think he's already been talking to her. But he's claiming also that it was never a romantic thing with Leah. Come on. Be real. Like, we saw you following her around the house, looking for her all the time. And like when she did walk into a room, he'd be like, yeah, we know. Anyway, Tucker and Joseph have a chat in the kitchen. Keep in mind, these two have been pretty close. I can't even remember if they actually have a final two or not, but they've been close, sharing a lot of information. Remember, Joseph wanted to use Tucker to take shots at his allies in the collective. So now he's realizing Tucker might not be around for very long. So I might have to come up with some other plans. But Tucker is feeling like he would probably be safe on the block against Kenny, but he might be in trouble if Kenny wins BBAI and it's Tucker versus whoever America votes for, right? Because the House guests seem to agree they're not going to want to vote out whoever gets nominated by America. They think it would be a punk-ass move, right? Because this person is going up at the last second. It's kind of unfair in their eyes. I mean, yeah, it definitely sucks, but that's the game. But this is the same group who, like, some of them voted for Ainsley to come in the House. And, like, this is also the same group who was like, Chelsea and Cedric, you're automatically safe week 1 because we feel bad that you are downgraded. So I'm not 100% surprised here, but it's also not set in stone that that's the case. There are still some people who, if they were up on the block, some of these house guests would be like, maybe we should vote them out. Like, there's definitely going to be some questions if Quinn finds himself up on the block. But anyway, Joseph was telling Tucker, you definitely made some good TV. That's for sure. And Tucker's like, I had to do it. Everybody's been playing scared. I'm not afraid to play this game. I'm here to make big moves. This is Big Brother. I'm making Big Brother moves. I mean, as a viewer, I respect it. I welcome it. And I hope for more. But like game-wise, he made some mistakes. Mistakes were made. So after this conversation, Joseph talks to the cameras and he's like, I got the worst choice in allies in Big Brother history. I mean, it's definitely pretty bad, right? He does not have a great track record. He goes through some of his close allies over these first few weeks. I mean, he got close to Matt, and Matt was not very good at this game. Angela, she blew up, right? Tucker, he now had a big blow up and decided to use the veto on someone other than himself. So, not looking great. Also, Quinn is one of Joseph's close allies, and he says Quinn is a rat. And he says, I'm calling him a rat somewhat facetiously. Like, I know he's playing the game, but like his game style is rat. But Joseph lets casting know, you guys did a really good job with this group. They sure did. All right, so then later.
I don't have an answer for that.
I didn't ask you. Later, Quinn talks to the cameras and he's like, man, what a blunder. You can say that again. He says, I guess I should have just told everyone about my power. Or you could have told no one. I think that probably would have been the better move. Just don't tell anybody. And then you could still use it. You won't get in trouble for it. But he just had to open his mouth and tell Angela about it. All right. Also, I mean, Chemo is kind of to blame here because Tucker found out from Angela. But Angela's credibility is not great. So he didn't believe it until he had it confirmed by Chemo. And I think part of the reason Chemo maybe told Tucker is because Chemo's got a bit of a crush on Tucker. So, yeah, Chemo is not innocent in all of this. But Quinn says, if I'm as good as I think I am, he says he can get through this. But it's really going to blow if he's evicted week 3 or 4. He's going to be so sad. Okay. So anyway, Quinn and Joseph have a chat, and keep in mind, again, these two have a final 2, so they're also very close, and they're talking about who they think should go if the vote is between Kenny and Tucker. Obviously, Tucker has proven he's very good at comps. He really likes puzzles. Joseph also brings up Tucker has made it very clear that he's going after Cedric, and we are working with Cedric, right? They're supposed to be close with him. In the collective, they agree. They're kind of leaning towards Tucker going at this point. He is a stronger competitor than Kenny. But, like, would Joseph really vote Tucker out? I mean, he was really... The way he was talking the other night, it was seeming like Tucker was going to be a very integral part of his game. But I think he's also realizing Tucker is not long for this game. And he's also a very volatile player. They were also talking about how if Kenny wins HOH next week, he's been going around saying that Brooklyn needs to go because she's like the head of a potential girls' alliance. And we've also heard Joseph talking about how he wants Brooklyn to go, but now he's all rah-rah collective again. So, yeah, they were talking about how if Kenny wins HOH and tries to target Brooklyn, Quinn can use his power to take over that HOH and prevent that from happening. But they agree Quinn should probably just throw this next HOH competition no matter what and use his power. 6 of one, half a dozen of another, right? All right, everybody knows he has it at this point. So Quinn, he tells Joseph, look, I really want to make it up to you for lying about having the power. So he's like, I got a little nugget of info for you. And he starts spilling about the Pentagon Alliance. He doesn't tell him the name of the alliance, but he does tell them the names of all 5 members. And he's talking about how it was formed. He knows that he and Brooklyn are numbers 4 and 5 in the alliance. And the top 3 are Cedric, Chelsea, and Cam. Those three are really tight. But like, I could have sworn he already told Joseph about this alliance the other night. He didn't give him the full rundown, but he did mention that they were in an alliance together. I remember that because that was the same conversation where Joseph was like, oh, well, that makes sense because I think that Chelsea was definitely the one that brought Brooklyn into the collective. Remember how pissed he was about that? Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he already told Joseph about that. I feel like he's telling so many people so many different things that he doesn't even remember that. But they go over the hierarchy of the collective, and they both feel like they're kind of in the middle. They feel like Chelsea, Cam, and Cedric are kind of like the top dogs in that alliance, right? And then the two of them in Brooklyn are sort of in the middle. And then they feel like T-Core and Chemo are at the bottom of that group. And that's why they are worried that they're going to realize that and go work with Rubina instead. I mean, yeah, I definitely see that happening. So then Tucker and Angela have a check-in, which is very interesting. It's an interesting dynamic, right? Because Angela was not expecting Tucker to use the veto on him. She's very grateful that he did that. I think she's also very grateful that someone other than her is the root of the drama right now. Yeah, Tucker, he was talking about how he wanted to shake things up, risk it for the biscuit, all of the things. And he says he knows if he doesn't win this AI competition, he's probably going to be in trouble, right? There's a good chance he's going to get voted out. And Angela's like, hell no, I'm voting for you to stay. There's no way I would vote you out. And she's saying she'll be campaigning for Tucker because she owes him for using the veto on her. That's just what you want to hear when you're on the block, that Angela is going to be campaigning in your favor. Ooh, maybe she should campaign against him. Maybe that would help more. I don't know. But Angela tells Tucker, I'm so glad that you did what you did. You are the most exciting thing around here. You keep me smiling, guessing, laughing. I never know what's going to come out of your mouth. She says she loves it. I'm sure she does. They are cut from the same cloth. But there was a real storm brewing last night. Tucker was going around saying Cedric blindsided him at the ceremony by not putting Quinn up on the block. And Cedric, on the other hand, is telling people, I didn't know that Tucker was going to use the POV on Angela. He's saying he warned Tucker to use the veto on himself. Correct. We saw that on the live feeds. We know that that is 100% true. He did warn him. So it gets back to Tucker that Cedric is saying he didn't know Tucker was going to do that. And Tucker's getting pissed. He's telling people Cedric knew about this plan for 2 whole days. And he's like, I hate being called a liar. He didn't say it like that, but it's like the inverse of him loving puzzles. I hate being called a liar. So Tucker was also saying he should have taken a poop in Cedric's shower. What? How did we get here? Okay, so let's put a pin in that whole situation and let's check in with T-Core because she has been through it with this Quinn secret coming out, right? She has been in this really tight 3-person alliance with Chemo and Quinn. So not only was she left out, Quinn didn't tell her about this power, but now she knows that Chemo did know about the power and he didn't tell her. That's the worst part to her, right? She's like, I can understand why Quinn didn't want to tell me, but she's really disappointed that Chemo knew and did not tell her. Oof, yeah, that's bad, right? Because within that 3, T-Core and Chemo definitely way closer than, any other combo. So T-Core was talking to Rubina about how hurt she was by Chemo not telling her. She's been avoiding him. She was not even looking him in the eye. Ugh, yeah, she just didn't want to deal with that situation. And she was also recalling a time when she was joking like, oh, what if I have the power? And Chemo was asking her, oh, like, do you have it? Knowing that Quinn did. So she was really like grossed out by that whole situation. Yikes. All right, later. Tucker confronts Cedric about the lies. Oh boy. There were a few other witnesses there. They were in that back bedroom with the rock beds, and Cam, T-Core, Chelsea, they were all in there. And Tucker's asking Cedric, so why are you telling people that I'm a liar? And he's like, you're telling people that you didn't know I was going to use the veto on Angela. What's the deal? And Cedric's like, well, I told you before the ceremony to use the veto on yourself. I told you don't use it on Angela, use it on yourself, which again, we know is 100% true. He did warn Tucker. Tucker's like, no, you told me that the numbers weren't there and I cut you off and I said, I don't give an F, right? I'm the one risking my game by being up on the block. So I don't care about the numbers. Like, just do it. And he says, you blindsided the F out of me. So they go back and forth about this quite a bit, right? This one point, like whether or not Cedric warned Tucker. And yes, he did. Tucker is wrong here. But Tucker is telling Cedric, you're my number one target now. I'm going to make it through this week. I'm going to beat your ass in the competition so I can get you out of here. And he says, even if I lose this AI comp this week, I have the votes to stay. Do you? I don't know. I really genuinely don't know. And Tucker was also saying, the truth will prevail, mother effer. Who's going to tell him he's wrong? Oh, the truth is he's wrong. I don't know if, like, I'm thinking back to this conversation when Cedric warned Tucker to not use the veto on Angela. I do remember that being the first thing that he said, and then he mentioned that they didn't have the votes to take out Quinn. I mean, it's possible that maybe Tucker just didn't hear him say it because it was very quick when he said that, but like he definitely said it. It could be a case of Tucker just hearing what he wanted to hear. I don't know, but Tucker tells Cedric, don't talk to me for the rest of the week. So Cedric ends the conversation because it was going in circles. And I have to say, Cedric handled himself really well because Tucker was coming at him and Cedric was just like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I warned you ahead of time to use the veto on yourself. There's not really much more he could say, right? But don't worry. They did hug later. They said they still love each other. They got all heated, but it's okay now, kind of. I don't know. I mean, I think they're still targeting each other, but they're going to be boys. Okay, so then the confrontations were not done last night after that. Brooklyn confronted Kenny about him spreading the rumor that she's the head of a girls' alliance. Ooh! I mean, this has been brewing for a bit, right? So Brooklyn's like, I appreciate that you think I'm that good of a player, but that is just not the case. Like, there is no girls' alliance. I am not the leader of anything like that. And Kenny's like, at first Kenny's like, yeah, I said it. Then he kind of backs up and he's like, well, it was a word twist. Like, I posed the question if there was a girls' alliance to a bunch of people when Joseph was turned away from going into Chelsea's HOH room last week, but Mackenzie was welcomed in a few minutes later. So he's basing it all on that. Come on, man. He definitely said a lot more than that. But Brooklyn brings up, it's really demeaning that just because some of us girls are hanging out, it's just assumed that we're working together. And she's like, I have heard from multiple people that you said I was the head of the snake and I had to be taken out. And Kenny's like, no, I didn't say any of that. I didn't say that. Kenny, come on. He also said at one point, like, I'm not even playing the game. Like, I stopped playing the game 2 weeks ago. Okay. Brooklyn has him freaking clocked, though, because at one point he also mentioned, like, oh, I thought my skill set was going to help me out better in here, like being a people person and all that, blah, blah, blah. And later on, Brooklyn was thinking to herself, like, skill set from owning a food truck? Like, what is he talking about? And then she was like, he's obviously a cop. Like, everybody's pretty much got him pegged at this point that he's a cop. So, yeah. It was fun seeing Kenny be held accountable for this rumor he's been spreading. But speaking of Kenny, I also have to mention, according to Tucker, who was just blabbing about everything yesterday, Tucker said the diary room warned Kenny, basically, if he keeps saying that he wants to leave, they're going to pull him from the game and he will not be getting his stipend. He will not be getting paid. So if you notice Kenny is talking less about wanting to quit, that's probably why. All right, I'm glad they finally were like, can you, like, stop? But in other news, last night, Chemo did end up apologizing to Tikor for not telling her about Quinn's power. And Tikor's like, yeah, that was rough. She says, I'm honestly thinking we're going to need to go back to the drawing board as far as, like, who we're working with. Because Quinn ain't it, right? She says it's not even so much that he lied about having this power, but now they know that he had all of these other final 2, final 3 deals. That's not okay, right? They don't know where they land on his priority list. So T-Core is not feeling great about Quinn at this point. But that's pretty much it for last night. There was a lot of retells, of course, about all the drama, which is fun to watch, but we don't need to keep going over that a million times. But today, nothing insane has happened yet. But Tucker and Mackenzie were talking about trying to get an alliance together. We'll see what happens with that. I'm not going to get too in depth with that until we see anything like really form there. But I think they were mentioning like T-Core, I want to say chemo. I believe Tucker brought up the possibility of working with Rubina, and Mackenzie said no. Okay, what's that all about? But yeah, we'll see what happens today, how things unfold. I mean, it's almost like they're going to be kind of stuck, I feel like, for the next few days because we've got 2 days until the eviction and they're not going to know who that third nominee is or who's coming off the block until Thursday anyway. So we'll see. I mean, I'm sure there's still going to be some discussions of like, should it be Kenny? Should it be Tucker? Like, what are we going to do if it's this person? But we'll see how it all works out. But that's where we're at now. So I want to thank everybody for watching and for joining me today. And a special thank you to all of our super chatters. Shane Wright, thank you so much as always. Wendy Will says, oh, hi. Do you guys miss mom coming out of the closet and like joining us at the end of the streams? I know I do, but I'm sure she's crocheting right now in the other room. Shout out if you're listening. Thank you, Wendy. David Cushmore, thank you so much. David says, I would like to see Quinn be evicted. Yep, she's listening. Now we know how long the delay is, too. David says, I would like to see Quinn be evicted so don't have to put up with his power anymore. How long is the AI arena twist going to last? That's a good question. Okay, I think it would be interesting to see Quinn up on that block for sure. I don't know if the votes would be there to vote him out. But it would definitely be a wake-up call for him, I think. I mean, there's only a week left of his power anyway. I'm sure if he's here, he's going to use it next week, right? I mean, it'd be so boring if he didn't. I don't know how long this arena twist is going to last because I feel like usually twists like this last about 4 weeks. So I don't know if this is also going to end after next week or if they're going to stretch it to like 6 weeks. I don't know. I feel like it would make a lot of sense if like after the twist ended, they go into like a double or something, but I don't know. I'm not really sure how they're planning on mapping this out, but I can't imagine this twist lasting much longer than like a week or 2 more, but we'll see. Sean Davis, thank you so much for the super chat. And Sean says, what does this game come to? People being scared to play, people wanting to quit, people not using the veto on themselves, people wanting to become influencers. I did enjoy Brooklyn versus Kenny. I also enjoyed Brooklyn versus Kenny. I think a lot of the issues with that stem from having a lot of recruits on the show because, these people volunteering themselves for the block, I think they just don't understand like how dumb that is. People wanting to quit. Kenny should have never been cast on the show. People scared to play. It's the sheep mentality, especially in the beginning, right? Nobody is ready to like stick their necks out except for like Tucker. And then people wanting to become influencers, again, they're casting a lot of recruits who like have never even seen the show before. And they're like, you'll be on TV. It is a bummer, but sometimes the recruits are really entertaining, like, because they don't know what they're doing. And sometimes they actually do start learning the game and playing really well. So it's interesting the different array of recruits that we get. Arlene Bulansky, thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate it. So that's where we're at. Thank you all so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow for more. Tomorrow we've got an episode to talk about as well. So I hope you all join us for that. Thank you all so much for watching. And until tomorrow, much love. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye.